Hey guys, Mr. Catlin here, working on your homework problems for the week, lesson 13. Here we go. Coffee maker's directions say to use 2 tablespoons of ground coffee for every 6. As soon as I see for every, man, I'm setting up a table. These word problems, people, I tell you, tables are the way to go. We got tablespoons over here, and we got ounces over here. 2 tablespoons for 6 ounces. So how much coffee would we use for 33 ounces? Well, it's pretty clear to see that our constant is timesing by 3 to get from tablespoons to ounces. So to go in reverse, we would do the inverse, which is divide by 3, and that's why we get 11. So that one's going to be 11. I am not going to write the answers down on this week's homework. And for those of you that are just copying it down, you can do it yourself, or you can listen to the video and know that it's 11 instead of copying it. Part B. A runner is running. Let's go to this one, part B. I'll work it right here. We got a runner running in a 10-kilometer race. All right, so we got minutes is one of our units, and kilometers is the other. It's a 10K, and we know that it took them 17 and a half to do 2.5. So we're trying to find out what it is for 10. So we've got to do a little bit of division, find out how many times 2.5 goes into 17 and a half. So this is my setup. It's not that bad because you're counting by 25s. 4 make 100, and 3 more make 7. So this would be 7, would be our constant of proportionality to get us over here. So our answer would be 10 times 7. So we would expect it to take them 70 minutes for that one. So that setup's good to go. Let's look at the second one that's on the homework, and that's the ice cream one. And it's a tax problem, which you guys struggled with a little bit whenever we did that on the quiz last Friday. So let's do this one, and we'll set it up with a table because that seems to be our most preferred method. So anytime we're dealing with tax and percent, we know that there's going to be percents involved and money. And the price of the ice cream cone was $3.25, and that was the full price before tax. So that is the 100%. So that is our 100% price. And then they tacked on some tax, and that bumped it up to $3.51. So for us to be able to find out what this question mark of percentage is, we've got to do a little bit of finding of our constant of proportionality. Now, on the tax ones, I'm okay if you use a calculator on those. If it's going to be a tax problem on the quiz, I'll make sure the numbers are a little easier than this one. So 325 divided by the 100. So this is kind of an odd-looking constant of proportionality. It is 0.0325, which makes sense because you're just moving the decimal over twice. And to go back the other direction, we actually need to divide these. So 351 divided by that constant of proportionality. So we divide it by I wrote down the wrong thing. It's 0.0325. So I'm going to divide it by 0.0325, and that gives me 108. All right, that's not the answer. That is how much they've gone over the 100%, right? Because 100% was this. 108 is 8 percentage points over. So when you write your final answer there, for those of you that are listening and work along, that should be a sales tax rate of 8%. 8%. So let's look at number 3. Find the value of each expression. All right. So this one right here for part A, the signs are different and you're adding. So you should be subtracting 22 minus 5, and the negatives win. So you'll get a negative answer there. So subtract them, get your negative answer. 22 minus 5 is 17. So that's pretty straightforward there. On this one, you need to add the opposite. So this is really negative 22 plus 5. Add the opposite, right? Which turns into the same problem that we just did, and so you should get the exact same answer, right? Negative 17 again. On the next one, we got negative 22 times negative 5. Well, you got to do 22 times 5. And, of course, that's going to give you 110, but a negative times a negative is a positive 110. So you know that that's going to be positive. And then the very last one, you're doing division. So you can set this up as 22 divided by 5, which it goes into it 4 times with 2 left over, so you can get 4 2/5. Just remember when you write your answer here, it is going to be negative. It's going to be negative, our difference there, 4 2/5. All right, let's keep on moving on. We'll keep on trucking. Those are just a quick test of our rules. If you remember our negative rules, you should be in good shape. All right, so x is -1/4, so you can just actually plug in -1/4 there. All right, pretty easy stuff. For the next one, you're doing 1 take away a quarter. All right, so for this one, you want to do add the opposite and think, okay, I want to subtract them. If I take a quarter away from a whole, that's 75 hundredths or 3/4. Positives win. So for that one, you should get positive 3/4. And for the next one, you're doing, is it -1/4? It is -1/4. Let me go back. Sorry about that. That changes everything. So if it's subtract a -1/4, sorry about that, add the opposite. This is really the same as 1 plus a quarter, which would give us 1 1/4. Wow, about missed that one up. Okay, next one is -1/4 and deduct a whole. All right, so if you add the opposite here, you can see, oh, these are on the same team. Let's add them together. We get -1 1/4. And then lastly, we get -1/1 divided by -1/4. So this is the same as your keep, change, flip rule. -1 multiplied by -4/1. And that would just equal +4. That's actually going to be the biggest one out of all of them. So least to greatest, the least would be, we'll do this, number it off. So the smallest out of all of these looks like to be this one. So this would be your number 1. Your next smallest would be here, just slightly less than 0, a quarter, right? And then a little bit bigger than a 0 here would be your third. And then your biggest one is the negative divided by a negative, and it comes out, it goes into it 4 times. So that's your biggest one there. On number 5, I'm going to leave that one up to you guys. You just have to come up with 5 expressions. You got to have a plus problem. So I want to see your creativity. You got to have a minus problem, a difference, a multiplication problem, and a division problem that all come out with the answer of -3/4. All right. So you got to have an answer here that equals -3/4. You got to have an answer here that equals -3/4, a multiplication that equals -3/4, and a division that equals -3/4. Try your best on that. Play around with it. Add numbers together, subtract them. Check it with your calculator if you have to. There's no right or wrong, so I don't want you to model after me and instead make up your own. I'd like to see some of your creativity. And then the last one, you use 2 operations. So you could add and then subtract. You could multiply and then subtract. You could multiply and then divide. You could divide and then add. Come up with answers that equal -3/4. All right? I'll leave that up to you.